Caroling, caroling, now we go. Christmas bells are ringing. Caroling, caroling through the snow. Christmas bells are ringing. Joyous voices, sweet and clear, sing the sad of heart to cheer. Ding dong, ding dong, Christmas bells are ringing. Caroling, caroling through the town. Christmas bells are ringing. Caroling, caroling up and down. Christmas bells are ringing. Mark ye well the song we sing. Gladsome tidings now we bring. Ding dong, Christmas bells are ringing. Caroling, caroling near and far. Christmas bells are ringing. Following, following yonder star. Christmas bells are ringing. Sing we all this happy morn. Lo, the King of Heaven is born. Ding dong, Christmas bells are ringing.
Good morning. It's so lovely to see you this morning. I just like to look into everybody's eyes. Yay. Oh. Aren't you beautiful and amazing, fabulous and handsome? Every single one of you. Yeah. I'm so grateful that you came this morning. Today is my favorite day. As you know, it's the best day ever. So thank you for joining me on the best day ever. I love today, and I love being a part of it, and I love being alive, which is why it's the best day ever, because it's the only time we have. Either you're living in your past or your future, or you're living now. And I choose to be living now. But what I'm noticing is that there's a lot that's stirring within me. I came from Egypt last Saturday, so not yesterday, but a week ago Saturday. I had come from a 2-week trip to Egypt. And on November 18th, I was on a Nile River cruise. November 18th is my birthday. So on my 39th birthday, I was on a Nile River cruise and the boat had docked, and at 3:30 in the morning we got our wake-up call. And we went off, and we got off of our big river cruise boat, and we got onto these smaller boats, and we drove to this island in the middle of the Nile River. On the island was built the temple of Isis. And in the dark, with our phone flashlights, we navigated the terrain and went into the Holy of the Holies in the Temple of Isis. And we had an opportunity to be there alone, without anybody, no tourists, just our group. And we were there sitting in the temple. And it's kind of, the room was about maybe this size over here, this area here, that's about the big of the inner sanctuary of the temple, and there was a big pink granite stone, solid, that was in the middle of it, and along the walls were hieroglyphics, as are in all the temples. They're top to bottom hieroglyphics, and you see these images of Isis, and you see images of Horus, her son. Now Isis is the birth mother. And she's also the daughter of Nut and Ra. And so you've got the daughter who is the balance of the heaven and the earth. The heaven and the earth. And so she brings all of harmony and all of balance. And then she birthed Horus, which in Egyptian lore is like the Christ child. So she is the birth mother. She's the original Mother Mary. As a matter of fact, a lot of the characteristics of Isis have been overlaid onto the Christian Mother Mary. And so a lot of her qualities also resonate through that story of Jesus' mother. So there I was in the temple in the darkness, and it was so beautiful to just feel the love of the birth mother. And I kept saying, through me, do your work through me, O Lord, do your work through me. Birth me again on this day, birth me anew to a new way of being. I surrender my old ways of being. It's my opportunity to step into a new way of being. And so I just sat there and felt the love, and I contemplated the people that were there 2,000, 3,000 years before, who were doing the very same thing as I. And as we finished our time in the inner sanctuary, we walked out, and as we were on an island, we went to the edge of the island, and we sat and watched the birth of the sun. So on my birthday, I was at the Birth Mother Temple watching the birth of the sun. How much cooler can you get than that? I'm just saying, like, it was really awesome. It was really awesome. But it's really moved me because I went to this talk yesterday by Michael Beckwith. It was an amazing, spectacular event, and I love Michael Beckwith. He's one of the living luminaries on the planet who I admire, and I strive to be as connected as he is, knowing that he's got a huge message, and I have a huge message, and you have a huge message. But what he was talking about yesterday, he was talking about the old paradigm. He was talking about the news. Now, the news isn't looking very good right now. Just saying. A lot of the news is not looking very good. There's a lot going on in the world, and it's pretty traumatic, and especially in our country, it's pretty tragic what's going on. But he was talking about how the reporters of the news are reporting on the old paradigm. They're reporting on the old way of being. You see, we're moving from a consciousness on this planet that's about profit, and it's about competition. And we're moving into a paradigm that's different, that's about community and connection, that cares more about the individual than about the money that the individual will bring, cares more about the gifts that that individual has than the money that we can use to acquire. And that's a new paradigm. He was talking about how we are the birthers of the new paradigm. And this is what was really striking me today as I'm taking on the mantle of Isis, the birth mother, that I am here to birth a new conscious paradigm into the world. And the way that we birth it is we speak our truth about what it is. We talk about what this new world is like. And then we act in alignment with it. And each and every one of us has that opportunity to create what we dream that new world to be. And so we get to be the cultivators, the birth mothers. Whether you're male or female, you can be a birth mother of the new world. I'm just saying that because I don't know how many times I've talked about Jesus and I want to be like Jesus, and what would Jesus do, and I walk in the line of Jesus. Well, you can also be the Isis. Everybody can take on the mantle of these ways of being. And so I want to invite you today to think about, how can I be the birther of this new consciousness of the world? How can I be that person who speaks this new reality, and because of who I am and my high vibration, I cause an entrainment for other people to walk in alignment of it and become that creation as well. And I think that's the invitation that really was coming through to me as I was sitting at the Isis temple. And I had this image of her with her wings behind me and just pouring her light into me, and as if my own body was birthing its own wings. And I can do the same to each and every person who I touch in my life. I can activate them. And you can be activated by aligning with that entrainment. Sorry, I love that word. Entrainment is whenever, like, for instance, there's a bunch of clocks in a room, and there's a big clock, right? And the big clock is clicking. And you put a bunch of clocks in a room, they will all start going in alignment with each other. That's called entrainment. And that happens with us as people. If we're in this place and we're in a vibration of a large vibration, it activates other people to be in that same vibration, and we become entrained. We're clicking at the same mode together. We're in alignment with our actions and our ways of being. And so that's why we come to places, or I come to places like this, because I want to be in alignment with the possibility thinkers. I want to be in alignment with the birth of the new consciousness on this planet that's coming through you and me. That's what I want to be in alignment with. And so I'm inviting each and every one of you to think about, what is it that I want to birth on this planet today? What way of being can I speak about instead of reporting on the news of the past, on what was? Let's report on the news of what we're creating. So I love our theme this month. It's about integrity. And integrity is about the state of being whole, entire, or undiminished. It's also adherence to moral and ethical principles. Well, you start getting into a little scary part, especially when it comes to religion, when you say moral and ethical principles, according to who? I think that inside each and every one of us knows what is the good for me is the good for the people. What is good for you is for the good for all. And if I'm doing something that's not in alignment that would be good for the entire group, then maybe I'm not doing something that's in integrity. So whenever I love myself enough that I can stand up and say something to somebody who's being inappropriate to me, I'm being in integrity, because each and every person deserves to be treated with respect. So it's not me being a doormat, it's me being a person with an authentic voice. But the way that I do that is I do it through a voice of love. I stand up and I speak my truth. So a lot of that is coming to fruition right now on the planet. I love that Michael Beckwith had talked about this, because I really wanted to ask him the question about the divine feminine emerging on the planet. And I just want to make this clear. The divine feminine is emerging to be in harmony, in perfect balance with the divine masculine, not to overcome the divine masculine or anything like that. It's really about the fact that the divine masculine has been apparent on the planet, and the feminine is coming into its power. And he pointed out, because the feminine is coming into its power, all of a sudden all these women are starting to speak their truth about being sexually harassed. Because they have the power within them to realize that it's not okay. And I'm going to speak my truth, when in the past I didn't have the courage, or I thought it wasn't okay, or I would be shamed. Which is true. Women would be shamed. But all of a sudden, it's starting to come to light where it's not okay anymore. And so I love that this is an indication that our planet is being healed, that things are shifting within each and every one of us. We're starting to speak with integrity about love for each other and for ourselves. Because when I love myself fully, I know that I can treat others with the same love that I have. But the same goes for others who are treating us unkindly. That means they're thinking unkindly of themselves as well. So they're people to be loved through their harm, because really they're just being harmful because they don't know any other way. They don't know any other way, or they've been harmed themselves that way. Because usually, anytime there's abuse that happens, it doesn't just spontaneously happen, spontaneously occur. Usually, there was a parent or a grandparent or somebody who caused abuse to this one child, and then the child grew up, and that was the only behavior they had. And they became entrained in the pattern of abuse. I want to invite you to become entrained in a pattern of love. I love this book. I haven't read the whole thing yet. I just started it. It's Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown. It just came out in September. Really, really good. And it's The Quest for True Belonging and the Courage to Stand Alone. And it's interesting. She wants to make it clear about how she came to the idea that she didn't belong to the world. She has this story about her being a young kid, and she felt like she never fit in anywhere, but she always felt like she fit in with her family. At least her parents loved her. At least she fit in with her family. And in middle school, she tried out to be a bear cadet, which is a drill team. She wanted to be in the drill team. And so she practiced this routine over and over and over again, and she had it down. She nailed that routine. She was so good at it. She even said in the book that she could still do parts of that routine. Like, she practiced it so much, like it was really in there. And when it came to audition day, she was in her, little jersey shorts and her t-shirt, and she came to the auditions, and she didn't realize that there was she'd not gotten the memo that all the girls were in full makeup. They had all the school colors. They were only wearing the school colors. They were in the most appropriate, like absolute to the T drill team gear. And there she was in her sweats, right? And she didn't realize that she was supposed to do that. So she goes ahead and she auditions, and she nails the routine. She was awesome. She was so excited about it. And she went up to the little board the next day. She was looking at the board, and she was looking at the board, and she was looking for her number, and her number wasn't there. And the girl next to her started screaming with glee and delight. And her father rushed up and grabbed that little girl and swung her around, and she was just like in the movies, And then she didn't make the drill team. So she goes to her car and she tells her parents what happened. And there was absolute silence. You see, her dad was the captain of the football team, and her mom was in charge of the drill team, and they fell in love in high school. And she knew at that moment that they were ashamed of her. And then she felt like she didn't belong anywhere, because she didn't belong in school and she didn't belong in her family. So she goes to the book talking about how this was a change point in her life. And she's always felt like she didn't belong. And she even talks about becoming really big and famous and then coming home and going like, I still don't feel like I belong anywhere. But she comes to the realization that belonging nowhere is belonging everywhere. And belonging everywhere is belonging nowhere. See, we all are our own people, and we're all individual, and we all belong everywhere. It doesn't matter if I go to Egypt and I'm the only white girl there. Well, actually there were 65 of us, but but it doesn't matter, because I do belong. But the belonging doesn't come from the outside, it becomes from the inside. That's the only place where I can belong, is from the inside. When I realize that I belong to an infinite kingdom, that the infinite great creator created each and every one of us, and we belong to it. We belong no matter what. Just as we are the sons and daughters of the divine, and it's our inheritance is the kingdom of heaven. But we have to take it on. We get to take on the mantle of recognizing that each and every one of us are those great creators of love and light in the world. We are the gods and goddesses of the universe. And we are co-creating this universe together as gods and goddesses. So my question to you is, what kind of universe do you want to create? And how are you going to create belonging within yourself and with other people? I love Ernest Holmes. He's my man. We're Holmesies. He's great. He says we should never lose sight of the fact that the soul is on the pathway of an endless and ever-expanding experience, and that only by expansion can it evolve. It does not mean we should cast away any good the old has to offer, but that we convert it into greater good, accepting the lessons and experiences of the past and taking the best from everything. We should press boldly forward, looking ever for the truth, and ever ascending higher and higher into the heavens of reality. I love that, because our topic today is wandering off your path. And when I was in the temple of Karnak, the very first temple we went to, I talked about it a little bit last week, but after I had this amazing experience with Sekhmet, the goddess, we were released and we were able to just kind of explore the temple. And there was this guy, and he was like, come here. And I didn't know if I should come or not, but I went ahead and went with him, and he got me back into these back chambers, and Gina was with me, and we were going back there, and I'm like, are we going to be raped? Are we going to be murdered? Like, what am I doing? You know, like, this is probably a really stupid thing to do, right? Fortunately, I just want you to know that there's a lot of love and respect in Egypt. A lot of love and respect. So, but I didn't know, I had that fear. On. And so he takes me to this sacred place. I actually had to jump on top of a rock, and so did Gina, and then we went into this place where the door was closed. I was like, oh God, what am I doing? This chamber, they had like a door, and so they opened the door and they brought us into this place, and it was really cool. It was super cool. And they had us lay our hands on these rocks and try and feel the energy. And I was like, oh, wow. So it was like a little gift. It was a really amazing gift. And then we were coming out, and I felt like, oh, I had this cool secret because I found this inner magnificent spot. And then he wanted money. And so I went and I gave him $1, and he said, no, more money. So I gave him $5, and then his two buddies were there, and they were like, well, you're going to give us $5 too. So I gave them each $5. And then I felt really mad. I kind of felt fleeced. I definitely felt fleeced. But so on one hand, I had this very joyful, amazing, cool experience where I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then the other hand, I had this experience of like, I feel like I just got worked over because I'm a tourist, So I wandered off the path. But as I've been processing that, I had talked to our tour guide, and he said, oh, no. Anytime they ask you for more than $1, you just say no. You just tell them no. $1, you should tip them because they are showing you something special, and that's kind of how they make their money. So that's fine, but you really can say no at a certain point because they'll keep going. Why not? So in me, I realized that wandering off the path taught me two beautiful lessons. One, I had a gift. I saw something sacred and holy, and I felt some energy that I hadn't felt anywhere else. And so it was like, that's something that can't be taken away from me. It was sacred. It was holy. But then I also had my boundaries crossed, and I didn't speak up for myself. And I could have. Internally, I knew that I should say no, but I didn't say no. So anytime anything like that happens, it's just a learning experience for me to step into the power. See, I was at choice point. I had opportunity to step in and speak up for myself because I knew internally, like, they're asking too much. I knew that, but I didn't say anything. And it wasn't them who fleeced me. It was me who fleeced me because I didn't speak up for myself. It wasn't them. It was me. They're just being who they're being. And that's where the lesson is. When you wander off your path, the deal is you're never off the path. But you might find something special that you would have never found before. Some kind of nugget, some kind of special experience. And you might get to the place where it opens you up to something, a growth opportunity. And whether or not you choose to take that is up to you. Now, I am taking it as a growth opportunity because the next time we visited a temple, I said, no, I will show me around, show me the cool places, and then I'll tip you, and then I have my max. And I was very clear at that. But I didn't have that to begin with, but they gave me that gift. And so maybe there's people in your life who are giving you that gift, that opportunity to speak up, that opportunity to step into who you really are, stepping into your power, stepping into that respect for yourself, stepping into that love. but doing it in a way that's kind. I think that's the big thing that I really love from this book, and I haven't finished it. We have 4 more weeks of this amazing book. I can't wait. But Brene talks about how we need to be the example of possibility for each other, especially she's talking about the political spectrum, and how, for instance, this just came up recently. I noticed that there was, so Donald Trump had this thing about lock her up for Hillary Clinton. And then, and so a lot of Democrats and people got very mad about that, right? And then there was, and I don't know the guy's name, this guy who's under Donald Trump, he got accused of something, and they're, Flint. And then there was a whole bunch of Democratic protesters who were going, lock him up, lock him up, lock him up, right? Now the deal is, it's not cool for either side to do that. And if we are willing, if we think that anybody is saying something unkind, we don't come back at them with the same unkind thing. We're the ones where it stops. And we get to be the birthers of the new paradigm, of what it looks like to stand in integrity and be the person of love. And so I want to invite you to think about, where am I? Where am I? Being that example of possibility. If I'm noticing other people's behaviors that upset me, am I doing them anywhere as myself? Because we're the only ones who can stop this. We're the only ones who can stop that type of being. And we're the ones who are also birthing the new way of being into humanity. So I want to invite you to take on the mantle of Isis this week. Take her on and decide to be the birth mothers. And you can be the birth fathers too. Birth mothers and fathers of a new paradigm. And dream and speak about it with me. Are you willing to do that? So I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. And I just want to wish you the best day ever. And so it is. Now let's pray. I'm so grateful to recognize and know that there is something that is far more powerful and greater than I am. It is love, it is light, it is a universal, warm, fuzzy feeling of kindness, of gratitude. And I recognize and know that as I am moved and transformed by some energetic that is birthing on this planet, I recognize and know that I am here to be a living luminary of light and love, a shifter and opener of consciousness, an activator on this planet. As I take on this mantle of Isis, of the birth mother, I recognize and know that each and every person in this room is also activated by this consciousness of being the birther. And so I recognize and know that there is a new paradigm of experience of love, of light, that is now coming through into this reality. And so I know that the pain and the suffering and the sorrow that is coming through is only birth pain. And I recognize and know that I speak and know and declare that something has shifted in me. Some way of being has been activated in me, that I stand and speak my truth for love, for light, that I'm open to a new way of experiencing connection, harmony, and that I belong everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And so no matter what the color of my skin or the color of my hair or the color of my clothes are, that I take the mantle of that individuality off and I tap into the truth of our humanity, recognizing and knowing that I'm here on this great planet to do great work, that I'm here to be an activist, a channel of love and light, And that as I wear this diverse mantle of my clothing, of my earth suit, that I get to express my individuality and enjoy the blessedness of it, but also recognize and know the blessedness of each and every person's individuality. I honor each and every person who comes into my life as kings and queens, as gods and goddesses. I see and know that we are walking on holy ground. I know and claim that this is a temple of love, that this is a temple of light, and that everything else that is coming to light reveals the truth of this. And so I recognize and know that I am a powerful being beyond measure, and that each and every person in this room is ignited and alighted with that truth. Each and every person who listens to this is activated. I know and claim that these pillars of light are across the planet, awakening and opening to a new paradigm of expression, of experience, of love, of light, so that we can truly be in alignment with this planet of peace. I know it is possible because it's already happened here in my heart. It's happened here now. I see it, I feel it, I know it, I declare it, and I am grateful for it. I'm grateful for this alignment, for this awakening. I'm grateful for this illumination. I'm grateful for this transformation. I have let go of who I used to be, and I have taken on who I truly am. And for that, I'm grateful. I release this prayer, letting it go, letting it be, and knowing it is already done, and so it is.